Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Mondays with the Mayor. My name is Ed Ryan, the host of Cape Coral Talk Radio, well, the co-host, usually on Friday nights. My wife, Kim, is with us when we're live from Hooked Island Grill, which is every Friday night at 5 o'clock for our live show. And every Monday, the Mayor joins us to talk about all the issues that are facing the city of Cape Coral. And there he is right now, the star of the show, Mayor John Gunter. How are you, Mayor?
I'm doing great today, Ed. Thanks for having me again.
How was your weekend? Anything exciting?
I did a little boating, enjoyed the warm weather, knowing this cold front was coming through.
Did you see this whole thing with the Matt DeVette getting fired from Wink and all that? It just took over social media the whole weekend.
Yeah, I saw that. It's unfortunate, looked like it was a surprise to him.
Yeah.
Just like all the viewers out there.
So last week at your last meeting, one of the topics that came up, and there'll be one more public hearing, is Seven Islands, the development that's planned for Cape Coral. Can you talk a little bit about that, and what do you think, if it's ever finalized and built, what that will mean for the city?
Yeah, I mean, Seven Islands represents a transformational waterfront destination that directly addresses one of the most significant challenges identified in our 2022 Urban Land Institute Advisory Service Panel report, which basically said a lack of public waterfront access and mixed-use development in our city. And this project definitely will fill that void, that we have. Northwest area of the city now has virtually no commercial retail, restaurants or shops, and it's probably one of the most rapid expanding residential areas of our city. So, with the Seven Island project, this will definitely be a dynamic change for that area. And, I'm really looking forward to that project.
You mentioned it. What do you think the retail and commercial will mean to the city that project brings, and how much of it do you recall? How much of it you'll be seeing if it's all approved?
Yeah, if I remember correctly, it was about 45,000 square feet of commercial space combined with waterfront restaurants, fish houses, a full service marina, hotel, recreational center. So there's a lot of things there. It's going to be, a hotel with a lagoon-style pool. So it's going to be one of the, I think, one of the nicest projects that we'll have, very similar to the impact that Tarpon Point and Cape Harbor made on our city many years ago. So I think this particular project will at least meet that type of an impact and maybe even exceed it.
Did the developer share with you how many jobs he thinks that entire situation will create for the city?
Yeah, I think that just going past, reviewing that document, they're hoping about 150 jobs with everything that's up there. So, we're going to have, what a lot of people don't understand is the city owns that property.
Okay.
Now, so one of the other things that we're going, as a city, what we'll generate is tax revenue and our ad valorem tax. City property, we don't pay any taxes. So as soon as the sale of this property, which is supposed to happen in February, then automatically that property goes on the tax roll. And then when all these multi-million-dollar improvements are made, that's only going to enhance the amount of revenue that the city will receive on ad valorem tax.
Do you recall what the sale price is?
Sale price of the property is about $20 million. There is a $2.5 million incentive. That's broken down to $1 million incentives and I believe $500,000. And they are broke out with the recreational facility that needs to be constructed within 6 years of the agreement. And then you have the marina that has to be if I recall correctly, the as far as the community center, that was a $500,000 incentive, I believe. $1 million for the marina that needs to be built in 10 years, and the other incentive that I mentioned was 8 years, was $1 million.
Now there is a neighborhood association there that it seems like is fully behind this. and a really big one and organized. And then the other night at your meeting, there were a few neighbors that objected to the project. Not a lot. There were a few, and they seemed like they were concerned about traffic turning in and out and things like that. Do you feel comfortable that the developer? I mean, Councilmember Lostra said that this developer worked more with the residents that she's ever seen at the meeting the other night. Do you think the developers tried to address? I mean, you can never really address every single thing, every single concern, but how do you think that went?
Yeah, I mean, Gulf Coast Gateway Resort Marina Village that is putting this project forward. I can tell you, I've had many interactions with them. I know they've had many interactions with the Cape Coral Northwest Neighborhood Association because that's their backyard. So they've been a important part of this dialogue for several years. One of the things that I commend this developer more so than some other developers sometimes do is one of their goals right from the get-goes is to get the community involved, make sure they were a part of the process. They've done that every step of the way. I know they have actually changed some of the ideals that they had just to make sure that they get the community support and backing. And they've crafted this project in a way to make sure that they've had 100% of their backing.
Why is there one more public hearing? What is that going to be all about? Is that the final public hearing that you need to have? And I know there was some concern from people in the audience that they didn't get a chance to speak about the project last time, but I don't think that was a public hearing, was it? It was setting this upcoming public hearing. So what's the process?
Yeah, that particular night, there was an opportunity for public input. And the reason being is the Florida statutory requirement on development agreements. It has to be duly noticed and you have to have two public hearings. The one the other night was the first. This one coming up next week will be our second public hearing and we'll actually vote on it then.
Okay. And then do you know what the time frame is, the timeline for shovels in the ground or ribbon cutting, all that stuff? Any idea?
Yeah, I know the one thing, like the city is on some of our projects as well, the first hurdle that needs to be jumped over is the Army Corps permits. Just like the Yacht Club, their initial project that really the beginning are the seawalls that need to be put in place. I know they applied for these permits, 18 months or 2 years ago. They're hoping to have them issued by the end of the year. The discussion I've had with the developer is they will be working on their structural permits along the way in parallel. And as soon as they get these Army Corps permits, they want to break ground and start this project moving forward. They have about 10 years. This is a 10-year project.
Wow.
It's not going to happen overnight. It's in phases. It's 7 independent islands. We've made an emphasis on the commercial aspect of this project first, mainly because we thought that was the most important, as a council when we had the discussion. We wanted to get those restaurants and that commercial retail open as soon as possible because we knew that was a void in that portion of the city, and we knew that was important. That's why we kind of crafted the incentives the way we did.
Mayor, what is the deal with the Army Corps of Engineers? I mean, it just seems like they're holding your pier back. They're holding the beach pier back. What is the problem with them being able to approve permitting? I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't either. A business owner for 38 years. If I ran my business like they ran their department, boy, we'd all be out of business. But it's unfortunate. I don't know if it's a staffing issue. I know there was a 43-day government shutdown, so that hurt us. And then after the shutdown, I'm sure it takes a little time to get back up and running. And then they're playing catch up. So that 43 days probably turns into months. So it's unfortunate, but really, it's the federal agency. We have no control over it. Mm-hmm. I've written letters to Senator Rick Scott in the past. I've written letters to Congressman Donalds. We've reached out to Congressman Donalds' office here about a month ago, expressed additional concerns. I know both of them are trying to help here, but it's a tough process, I have to say.
Yeah. So at the TDC meeting last week, they showed a chart of the hotels as the hotels start to come back online after Ian. And when I saw that there were 820 hotels in Cape Coral and that you were at 100% capacity of your hotels, so I guess maybe because I'm dumb, I was surprised by that low number. Is that where you guys want to be with the hotel numbers, or do you, I know this project will bring another hotel, but is that the right number? It's just not a destination where people would go for hotel visits?
No, I think it's important. We have to expand that. And I'll give you an example. We just had an incentive package that we approved for another hotel to be built up in the northeast part of the city. We recognize that we do have a deficiency in hotels. And, our city, like many other cities, relies on tourism. And one of the things that you need to have with tourism is hotels. There's special events we'd like to put on here in the city that, sometimes not having adequate hotels kind of hurts us. So we know there's a deficiency there, and that's one of our objectives. As you mentioned, Seven Islands, that's a 150 room hotel that's being proposed there. We're looking at the Bimini East project now. Hopefully, maybe we can get some interest down there. But we definitely need more hotel rooms here in our city.
Is there enough property in Cape Coral to be able to put a hotel? I know it's platted out for residential for the most part, but is there property that can be used for hotels if an interested party or two came in, or 10?
Yeah, there is. I mean, it's hard, a pre-platted community. There's not many of us in the state of Florida, and it really kind of handcuffs us when it comes to commercial development. And that's why you see a 90 to 10% ratio here in Cape Coral, and it's continuously been that. But we need to try to overcome that. I know there's some city properties that we have. You have the parcels up in the northwest that we own that we'll probably put on the market. As soon as we get water and sewer down Burnt Store Road, you got Academic Village. So there's some big parcels still out there that we own. There's still some parcels out there that are for sale. It's just, the developers, the right developers got to come along.
Gotcha. So you mentioned Burnt Store Road. How do you feel things are going with the enforcement and how things have been since the unfortunate deaths on that road?
Yeah, I mean, I think I had my second, and I might have mentioned this the last time I was on the show. I had a discussion with Commissioner Wayne last month, and we have another meeting coming up, I believe, next week. A follow-up meeting. We identified, I don't even remember, 15, 17 concerns we had here in the city that, we need to work with the county on. And Burnt Store Road was one of them. I know the MPO, it's a top priority for them. It's a top priority for, the city. It's a top priority for the county commissioners. So we need to find the funding in order to get that last link of expanding Burnt Store Road completed. So I think it's a priority for everyone. We just got to find a way to get it done.
You took a tour of JC Park recently and posted some pictures on your Facebook page. How are you feeling about that project and whether it's going to be done on time?
Yeah, actually, I took the whole day and went around to all the parks that we have under construction. Festival Park, Tropicana. I went up to Yellow Fever Creek, JC Park. So I visited all of them. And JC Park is coming along great. I will tell you that, it's still on schedule to get completed. The developer and his development agreement has to April of this year to get it done. I think that, it's coming along great. One thing I did want to mention about that project, because I just asked for this information and got it today, that I think some good information to put out there involving JC Park. I had a few people as a result of the pictures that I posted that had some responses, some negative responses, because they didn't feel that there was enough shade there. And, I went on to say we have many structures there that I saw. They hadn't put the sails up yet. But the framing's there. It's all installed, ready to go. We removed about 228 invasive trees up there, 144 of them were the Australian pines. And so that's what we removed, and we relocated 53 trees that we wanted to keep, just wasn't in the best spot, or was it maybe in a spot where, there was, whether bistro or the amphitheater, whatever the case may be. So we relocated 53 of those trees on site. Also, we're planting an additional 421 trees. And when I was there the other day, they actually started digging the holes throughout the park to plant some of those trees. So that should give us somewhere in the neighborhood of about 480 trees. I think there were 10 trees that were there that need to be mitigated in some form or fashion. We're also installing 496 bushes and about 826 ground cover shrubs of some sort, 826 of them. So it's going to be a lot of landscaping there. Of course, that's towards the end of the project. You don't see any of that yet. That's one of the last things that get put in. But when I asked for the information just here the other day and got it today, I was surprised actually how much we were planning there.
What do you hear about the bistro? Any applications yet to help run that? I actually did run into somebody who said they plan to apply for that, but is anything official?
Yeah, I don't know, and I wouldn't know that until after the deadline gets here. That's something that staff handles. That's not something their procurement department runs at. So I'm sure we're going to have some interested parties in applying for that. I've heard the same thing in the community. There's different people that may be interested, and we'll take a look at those proposals, and at some point the city manager will come back with a recommendation on exactly what we've what type of packages we received and what his recommendation. Then we'll go from there.
And so the residents know that's not just somebody coming in and taking over. Well, it is taking over the bistro, but there's going to be some kind of arrangement where the city gets a piece of the action, right? I mean, this is your park.
Yeah, it'll be very similar to the boathouse agreement. There'll be an agreement on exactly what they can and can't do. There are also operating hours, things like that. They'll also have there'll be a profit sharing of some sort in that agreement, just like we have with the boathouse. Again, if you recall from our council meeting, council kind of gave direction to the city manager. We are looking to get the $1.4 million that we put out for the structure of the bistro. We want to get that back. We don't want taxpayers to pay for that. So that needs to be a part of the agreement. And then, then we'll have some type of profit sharing on top of that. So we'll see where all that shakes out. And, I think it'll be a great amenity. We'll see exactly what it's going to be. I know some of the discussions will be the sale of alcohol, no sale of alcohol. We'll see where those proposals come in and where the council discussion goes.
In a perfect world, when is that bistro open?
Well, I will tell you, I was there the other day, and council gave the city manager direction to go ahead and finish the structure, get the roof on, the exterior, the siding, the stucco painted. We want the outside completely done. It'll be nice to have it done, by the time it opens. But what we wanted to make sure, if it wasn't going to be done, that additional construction, we didn't want that to hold up the opening of the park. So our goal is to try to get it done. That's why we, as a city council, the city manager says, hey, I need to know this now, if we even have a chance of getting this done by April. But we want to make sure it doesn't hold up the opening of the park. Hopefully we'll have it done. As far as the exterior, do I think we'll have identified a possible, restaurant to go in there, or whoever it may be, get the development agreement, get them in there to get the interior construction complete, because we're not doing any of that. That's definitely not going to happen between now and April.
Gotcha. You mentioned you took a tour of all the parks. Do you want to give an update on any of the other ones that people might not know about?
Yeah, I went up to Yellow Fever Creek. I wanted to take a look at that. There are some legal matters up there with the contractor that our city attorney is addressing. So I know there was a construction bond that was put in place as far as that construction project, and we've actually called for that bond to be revoked. There's some issues up there that needs to be addressed. We've had another contractor up there that has done work for the city before that I think identified 85 some issues that need to be addressed. Some of them are major concerns. Some of them are minor. And so we'll get through that process. I walked around, looked at the campgrounds. That's going to be another open green space type park. You can go, you'll be able to camp there for the weekend or for the week or whatever the case may be. So I think that's going to be great when it opens. There's a large retention pond up there that you'll be able to go out kayaking on. So that's going to be a nice outdoors green space type of park once it's open. Went over to Festival Park. That's coming along good. Festival Park is hoping to be open by the middle of summertime here, and it's pretty much on course for that at this time. Again, you have several soccer fields over there. We actually gave the city council gave direction to do some additional fields there for practice fields. There's two right now. There's two artificial turf fields that are there now that look great. There's two sod fields, and then we're also putting in some practice fields as well. So that park is coming along great. The amphitheater, all where that eventually will be up there. You have the RC airplane park right next door. So that's, I've even asked, what's the size of this park in relation to, the old golf course that we just bought that was 175 acres, 145 acres is what I was told that Festival Park is. So it's a pretty large park. Went over to Tropicana Park. They're coming along great. That project should be ended about the same time as Festival Park in the middle of summertime. They got a lot of the playgrounds in, some of the artificial turf they put in under the playgrounds. The Overlook Pier was already went out on that. I think the only thing they have to do on that is get the roof on. The pier's built, the structure's built. They just got to get the roof trusses and the whatever they're putting up as their roofing material. They got to get that up. So that project's coming along. That was held up just a little bit because council decided to go ahead and be proactive and put the roundabout in right there at Old Burn Store and Tropicana Park. So we had to redesign a little bit of the park to get everything to fit. Some of the floatable piers were in over on the spreader side, over on the over where near the Seven Islands tucked in. They were getting ready to put those. They were there. They were getting ready to put in the floating docks there. So it's coming along great.
So it sounds like toward the end of this year, a lot of the parks will be back open.
Yeah, I'm guessing, excluding, and I'm hoping that we get through the process. Those parts that I just mentioned, all of those, hopefully by the end of the year will be open. I'm hoping we get through all the legal matters with Yellow Fever Creek and we can get that done. Unfortunately, there's a process that we have to go through because it is a legal matter. I don't think that, a couple months they should be able to get that thing turned around. It's just getting to that point.
So over to the yacht club, there was from what I understand, you guys were looking at putting food trucks in the yacht club while everything kind of works itself out there, but that didn't happen by the end of the year. What's the updated situation with that?
Yeah, I saw some negative comments on social media regarding this, and I guess it's important, first of all, to make sure we get the accurate information out there. Actually, the Kearns Group from the boathouse had until December 31st to notify the city if they were interested in doing some type of preliminary food sales at that location. And that was a part of their agreement. It was in their agreement that they had until December 31st to notify the city either yes, they were interested or no, they were not. towards the end of December, we received notice from the boathouse, the Kearns Group, and they had elected not to do any type of interim food sales until the boathouse was open. But also in that agreement, the city of Cape Coral has the opportunity, if they had refused to put food trucks, in order to get something down there in the interim for the people that are utilizing the beach. So we're going to be they're putting the RFP together. We're hoping to get it out here very soon, hopefully by the end of the month, where we can see if there's some food truck vendors that are interested in, during the park hours down there, which is basically daylight hours, where they can go ahead and serve drinks. And when I say drinks, non-alcoholic drinks, and some type of food down there until the boathouse opens. So that's where we're at now.
Do you know how many the RFP will ask for? I mean, how many do you want to have in that park?
Yeah, I can't imagine to be more than two or three.
Okay.
It's not that big an area down there right now. And we also have to keep mindful that here very soon, I'm guessing that the construction of the seawalls are going to start. So it will be a construction area down there. But if we got food parks and we got construction workers down there, if we got food vendors down there, they'll be able to utilize them as well. So we'll do the best we can to keep the area safe away from the construction and get the food trucks in there. That's why I said I can't imagine more than a few.
Yeah. So anything new on private partnerships with any of the different projects you're hoping to put in place at the yacht club? Anything new?
Yeah, the only thing there is we'll get an update in Wednesday's meeting, the committee of the whole. The RFI that we talked about, that should be going out here by the end of the month. It's going to be had a discussion today with the city manager on this. It'll be a RFI that'll be out there with a deadline of 60 days from the date that we put it out to see if there's any interest of any sort. And we're basically going to be casting a big net. There could be someone out there, a developer that wants to do it all. There could be a developer that only wants to do, may only want to do the rec center or the marina. They may only want to come in and their expertise might be in marinas. They may want to just do that. So we'll be able to take any type of a RFI, whether it's the whole project or if it's just certain aspects of it. There may be somebody out there that wants to do a parking garage that has expertise in the parking garage. So we'll see what we get, and once those come back at the end of that 60 days, I'm sure it'll come back to council. The city manager will make a recommendation. We'll look at it all. And as a city council, we'll figure out how to move forward.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but the goal here is you guys, the council has seen the cost of doing it alone, and you don't want to spend all that money. Nobody seemed to want to spend all that money on council.
Yeah, I mean, I think we have a responsibility to see if there are developers out there that want to partner with the city. The last number, we've heard 225 and higher. The last number that staff gave us was about the $190 million range. And that's still a lot of money. And, if we can get someone to come along, very similar to the boathouse, they're the ones paying for that structure to be built. We're not. So if we can get a developer to come in and build that at their expense, maybe with a long-term contract, and it saves our taxpayers the burden of paying for that project, that's a win-win. And I think we have to try to explore that first because, this project since 2018 or so constantly keeps growing. The longer that we wait, the more it's going to be. So if we can defer some or all of that expense and the taxpayers don't have to pay it, and we still get the amenity that we're looking for, that's a win-win for everybody.
So can you explain what Redfish Point is and where we are in that process? It came across the newspaper today. And of course, it's always negative. It's always, there are people concerned about this and that. And that's usually the way the newspaper or the TV stations start. with these things, in my opinion. But what is Redfish Point, and where are we in that process?
Yeah, Redfish Point is a private initiated development down near Tarpon Point. And to probably explain it the best, I want you to imagine a donut. And the whole of the donut is basically where the uplands part of the parcel is, where there could be in a development. The other parts of the donut is wetlands and cannot be developed on. So what the private developer initiated was to try to have access from either one of the roadways, or they looked at the park to try to come up with an access road, do some mitigation when it comes to the wetlands in order to get access into the center of the donut.
Mm-hmm.
And that's pretty much, they want to have a project very similar to Tarpon Point, where will be some mixed use, a hotel, condos, whatever the case may be. And that's what they want to develop down there. And so they are going through the process. They have been for probably over a year with staff, having staff meetings. I think you'll probably see this particular project because there's some zoning requirement changes, land use changes that have to come before city council. So I think you'll see a recommendation brought forward from staff because they will be applying for these alterations in our as far as zoning and our future land use. It'll be brought before council, and then council will hear the project and vote on those zoning and land use changes. So we have a lot of the community that's especially the residents who live around there. They don't want to see this project. So I think it's going to be a well contested project, but we'll see in the public hearings exactly what the proposal is. We'll get the public input that we've received. Well, I've gotten hundreds of emails.
Really?
Over the last year or so on this. Yeah. So it's a very hot topic that'll be brought before council here probably before the middle of the year, if I had to guess.
Would you say the emails you received are against it mostly?
Yeah, most of them.
And I think it's on the P&Z agenda this week. I think they're looking
it's got to go to planning and zoning first before it comes to council. So, it's going down the path that it has to. Mm-hmm. And eventually it'll be before council and the city council will make the ultimate decision, and the P&Z planning and zoning will make a recommendation. As the city manager will probably make a recommendation to P&Z, and will make the same recommendation to city council. So then we'll have a hearing. Developer will come forward, and opportunity for public input, and staff will make a recommendation. We'll hear the recommendation of the planning and zoning board, and eventually we'll make a decision one way or the other.
So you, council member Keith Long, kind of brought up the possibility of looking at a strong mayor type of government. Right now it's a strong city manager, and I say this, but it's not, I don't mean it in a negative way. It's a strong manager, weak council kind of situation. Mm-hmm. And you're looking at going, at least giving the voters an opportunity to look at a strong mayor, which would totally change things around the way they are now. That person would have to be elected, could bring the entire organization in, and there'd be no city manager. So what do you think about that suggestion first?
Yeah, first of all, let's kind of talk about, there's two forms of government here in the state of Florida. You have a city manager form of government, which is exactly what we have today. And you have a strong mayor form of government. They're the two types of governments that we have. When you look around the state, not always the case, but most of the time, your larger cities, Orlando's, Tampa's, Miami's, those type of cities are your strong mayor form of governments. There are some, I can tell you, I believe city of LaBelle, not LaBelle, LaBelle. LaBelle, I believe, is a strong mayor form of government, if I'm not mistaken, and that's a smaller city. So, but generally speaking, you do see it with our larger populated cities. Right now, we're a top seven city in the state. We're going to be a top five at some point. We are a fast growing city. So it will be a question at some point. I don't know if this year's the year, but there's going to definitely be a point in time where we'll have to have that discussion. Now, what I supported was to at least to move that topic forward so the city attorney could draft language what that referendum would look like, and it would be the ultimate decision of the residents of Cape Coral whether that moves forward or not. Also, the earliest, even if it was approved by a referendum, the earliest that this would go into effect would be 2030. Now, what I agreed to do is at least let the city attorney write the language and bring it back to city council, just like we did with all the other potential referendums. So they still have to be brought back before the city council, take a look at the verbiage and the referendum, make sure we're good with it, and make a determination. Once we look at it, we may decide not to move those items. Mm-hmm. At some point, as a council, we'll have to have a vote on those items, not only the strong mayor item, but the other initiatives that were brought forward with the Charter Review Board. So there are some advantages and disadvantages in my eyes when you talk about these two different forms of government. City manager form of government that we have had for over 50 years has worked for us. And the advantage with a city manager form of government, if a city manager, whomever they may be, isn't doing what we feel that they should be doing, and we want to make a change, we can do that. I will tell you because I'm on my third city manager, and all three of the city managers that we have had, that since I've been here since 2017, the Florida statute allows for that particular position to have up to a 4-month pay. I forgot what they call it now, but it's 4 months of severance pay that they are allowed to receive. And the last 3 city managers had that built into their contract. So as a city council, we can come in tomorrow and say, Mr. City Manager, thank you for your service, but it's no longer needed. And that's called without cause, and that we would pay the 4-month severance pay. If it's with cause and we can show the cause, then we don't have to pay the severance pay. And I can tell you the last 2 city managers that left without cause, and we paid the 4-month severance pay, and we made a change. So that's the advantage of a city manager form of government. When it comes to a strong mayor, if a strong mayor walks through the door and is elected, by the residents, unless they do something illegal or unethical, you're stuck with them for 4 years, whether you like them or not. If they get through the door and they're here 6 months, and the voters are going, oh my God, what did we do? You're stuck with them. And that's the disadvantage, in my opinion, to a strong mayor form of government. So the question that we have to ask, now the advantage with a strong mayor is the people elected the mayor to do what the voters, as a part of that process. I think it would be the responsibility of the candidate who's running for strong mayor. Hey, this is the vision I see for the city. These are the things that I want to work on. These are the things that I think that we've missed the boat on, or things that we could be doing better. And so they're going to have to sell themselves in that fashion. And so that could be the advantage, because then it gives a little more control to the people because that particular strong mayor who's elected is really held to that standard. Right now, the city manager is held to the 8 council members only who are elected. So it's a little difference of view there. And I think we have to ask, is our city ready? If you look at the top 10 cities, the last time I did, as far as populated cities, the top 10, it was almost split between the top 5 populated cities were strong mayor. The next top 5 were city manager form of government.
So you're on the Florida League of Cities. You're very involved in that. You talk to people about government. What is your feeling on what is best for Cape Coral in your opinion, the way it is now or the strong mayor?
Yeah, I think you could look at it and make arguments on both sides. And I'll tell you, as a mayor of the city, I think it's best to put it to the voters and let them make the decision. As John Gunter going to the polling booth, if it made it to the referendum, if you're asking what I think, how I would vote right now, I would probably vote to keep it a city manager form of government. But I think we're going to be there. I just don't know if now is the time that we're there. That's me. That's my vote. But as the mayor of the city, I think if we are going to have that discussion and that dialogue, if 5 council members think that we need to move that forward after we had the discussion and let the residents decide, that's what we'll do. If 5 council, we don't have 5 votes, then it'll be a discussion for another day.
Don't you do you think that, well, first of all, is there any chance that if, let's just say that 5 council members want the voters to make the choice, is there any chance it gets on this November's ballot?
100%.
Oh, okay. And so the second thing is, it seems to me like there's a lot of education that would need to take place about this change. It's a massive change of government. And I don't think, most people are paying attention to what's going on now at the council meetings. And you're asking them to go into the voting booth and change their form of government. There's got to be some kind of education process along the way, don't you think?
Yeah, without a doubt. And one thing you didn't even mention, as soon as we put it on as a referendum, the city cannot take a position either way. So we can't advocate one way or the other as soon as it's a referendum. Now, could we educate prior to that? Absolutely. Can other organizations lobby and advocate one way or the other? Absolutely. But it's something, I'll tell you that most people today, just go on social media. The average person today has no clue how our government works. I can't tell you how many times people think that the mayor makes the decisions and he or she, whoever's in that position, makes all the decisions. That's just not the case. The city manager is who runs the day-to-day operation, has most of the power, has most of the influence. But he does serve at the direction of the 8 council members. So I think it's our job to make sure that we outline the boundaries and the goals for him if we're going to have a city manager form of government. And I think our city manager today has done an excellent job. I think that we have to make sure that we set those boundaries and we set those goals to make sure he does what the majority of council wants him to do. And I think that's the success of a city manager form of government.
Yeah, and I totally get where people are when you think about it. Just looking at it from the top of the mountain, we want somebody that's elected to be the person responsible for things. It's a huge difference. It's a huge transformation in how the government operates just by doing that. It's not a simple thing where you snap your finger and the mayor moves from your chair to Mike's office and starts running the government. It's a massive, I think it's a massive change. I could be wrong.
Yeah, I think it is too. And you take a look, all the positions, and we've had it in the past. We've had councils that come in the past and, change the city manager out and try to get their buddies in there. And, that could be detrimental. And we've had, we have a lot of very, very professional, experienced directors that do an exceptional job here for our city. And, one thing I learned in business for 38 years, I've always tried to surround myself with people who's smarter than me. And the reason for that is because you have the higher probability of being successful. And I'm man enough to know there's some shortcomings and things that I know in my business. And I can recognize what they are, but I make sure I got the right people in place to fill that void. And when you look at, our city, I see it as a business. I see our directors almost as a board of directors that make recommendations. Of course, our city manager has the ultimate say-so in a lot of different areas, but he or she answers to the city council. And, I would hate to lose all the experience, the professional positions that we have in our city. And that could happen with a strong mayor. That could come in and clean slate and say, on day one, you could get rid of the fire chief, the police chief, and every director on day one. That's not going to be in the best interest of our city.
And right now, the way I understand most municipalities operate this way, with at least in Southwest Florida, it seems like they all do. With the county's got a county manager, and you guys do it this way, and the smaller communities do it this way. Everybody meets with the city manager. Everybody has a private meeting. They talk about the issues, and I'm sure Mike and the council members go back and forth on certain things and give them input on different projects. But that happens in all the different municipalities that I've covered anyway. Would that same thing be able to happen if the mayor was an elected position? How does the Sunshine Law fit into something like that?
Yeah, it's very simple. Most strong mayor form of governments, the mayor is not a voting member of the council.
Okay.
So therefore, the Sunshine Law doesn't apply. So basically, he would do exactly what our city manager is doing today.
Okay.
He would meet with the council members. He would have the discussions, just like the city manager does. I have a meeting on Mondays every week. It's about a 2-hour meeting with the city manager. Had mine today. Other council members have their meetings. So the mayor, in a strong mayor form of government, would run the day-to-day operations and direct the directors accordingly, and would work with the council members one-on-one, and the Sunshine Law wouldn't apply.
If you're a betting man, would you bet that it's going to be on the November ballot?
I would be surprised if it makes it to the ballot, and I would be surprised if it did make it to the ballot, if it would pass. Only because of what you said. Don't know if there's enough time to really educate the residents to make sure they know exactly what they're voting for.
All right. Well, that'll be interesting to watch. And do you have any update on the building audit from the state, from Mr. Mike?
Yeah, I can say that we haven't been contacted yet for the state to come down. What I've heard, how these scenarios usually work is they'll call you a week or two in advance. Hey, we're coming down, and on such and such a date. So we haven't received that notification yet.
Well, they made a big stink out of it, and it doesn't seem like there's much urgency.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I don't think you're going to find this big smoking gun that some people think that's there. You can go online, look at the report right on our webpage. You can click on the 180 some page document, and there is a response already that we've already sent to the state on each individual item that was listed. You'll see that some of those 180 some documents have absolutely no reason why they should even be in there.
Right.
It could be an email talking about something other than the building fund. So, and that's what the whole crust of this argument is. So I'll be surprised. Sure, there could be some recommendations how to maybe do things better. I don't think you're going to find anything in there unlawful.
Gotcha. So how about a flag fundraiser update? Any new news on that, and where you think that might be going? It's getting closer and closer to July.
Yeah, actually, I did ask for that updated number today, but they didn't get it to me. I don't believe. I'll maybe try to check my email while we're here. But the last I heard, we were up around close to 40,000, with about another 100,000 committed by a variety of organizations. I didn't think that 100,000 made it across the finish line as far as an actual contribution yet. But that's kind of where they were had their their goals kind of set for now. About 40,000, another 100,000. So if the 100 comes through, we're somewhere about 140,000. Just want everybody to remember, this is a project that the city manager brought forward. That we're trying to. I shouldn't say we. He is trying to get private donations in order to fund this project. I think he's pretty much got direction from city council, unless they changed their mind. That was the last direction I believe we gave him, was let's do it in a fundraising initiative and not taxpayer dollars. Like I said before, I do think that if I recall correctly, there's an RFP out there.
Okay.
I want to say it was January 16th, if I remember correctly, but somewhere here in the middle of the month, it's coming up that RFP is due. So hopefully by the end of the month, we'll kind of know what those numbers actually look like, what the actual numbers are. It's got to go to a selection advisory committee. They got to look at it. They got to make a recommendation to the city manager. Then the city manager will bring it to us. So there is a little bit more work to do at the end of the opening of the bids, but they will be opened here soon after the deadline gets here.
And so there is a chance it might not cost $500,000. It might cost something less, and then there'll be a solid price that everybody could wrap their arms around and say, okay, maybe we only need 100,000 more, or whatever the number is.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we'll see once we get to that fork in the road. Right now, my understanding, there was some preliminary numbers between 3 and 350 for the actual cost. Then there was some ancillary expense that I think some of those have been already volunteered. Some concrete work, some pavers, some landscaping and things like that around the flag. I think that's all been donated, or there's been some people that's come forward that said that they would donate those services. So we have to see exactly where the numbers are, and where even if the 100,000 comes through and we're at 140, we're only not even halfway there yet.
Yeah.
If this is something that needs to be up and installed by July, I'm thinking we have to be done with the fundraising by April, probably, to get it done. So, we'll see, what happens between now and then.
Hey, look, even if it doesn't work, it was a great idea and a nice try. And, not everything works out. That's a lot of money to raise.
Yeah. And I'm thinking that, if you raise 150,000, hey, what can we do with 150,000? It might not be 250 feet.
Right.
It might be 150 feet or 175 feet. I don't know. But that could be a direction we go to. Hey, we got X amount of dollars. If we don't want to add, and when I say we, if council continues where they don't want to use any tax dollars to fund that, and we got 150,000, might have to go to Plan B.
Gotcha. So the committee of the whole meeting is Wednesday. What one or two things should people keep an eye out for in that meeting?
Yeah, I think a couple important topics on that is one for sure is yacht club update. You're going to get an update on the yacht club. We'll talk about the RFI that you and I already talked about. They'll talk about the notice to proceed for the seawalls. Once we issue the notice to receive, the contractor, that's when his time clock starts in order to get those seawall completed. Just for argument's sake, if he's got a year to get all the seawalls done, as soon as the notices starts, that's when the time clock starts. So hoping to see some actual construction down there here soon, where they start on those seawalls, start mobilizing. They're going to have to go down there and mobilize They're going to have to, probably fence off some of the area and get things going. So I'm looking forward. We'll hear about that tomorrow. So there's some of the. Hold on, I got the agenda. Got the agenda right here. Let me grab it. See if I missed anything.
And the committee of the whole is Wednesday at 9:30. It looks
we
like
have a CRA meeting before that, and then we have that committee of the whole. So I think that's the most important thing on the committee of the whole for sure, that I think the residents will want to listen to. We're talking about speed limits. I know. I think the city manager, speed limit signs and speed limit zones and speed limits throughout the city. Right now, it's the council makes a decision on changing the speed limits in the city, whether we do it or not.
Mm-hmm.
The city manager wants to bring forward that it's a staff administrative procedure where they do the traffic study and then they go ahead and implement whatever's in place, and kind of takes city council out of the loop where we don't do it any longer. So we'll have that discussion. Basically, whether the city, it'll be a administrative action or if it'll be a council action.
Mm-hmm.
So they're probably the two most important things on there.
And later in the month is the Tour de Cape. You got a bike ride. I don't think it's a race. I don't think there's any medals or anything like that. But you got different mileages up to 100 miles. So the question everybody wants to know is, how many miles will you be riding in that race?
Yeah, I don't know. I'll be honest with you. I have never participated in that race. If it's a short stint, I'm all for it. The 100 miles, I wouldn't make, and probably the fire department would intervene somewhere on the course. And some of the people out there that you see on social media may get the wish that they've wished for.
Oh, stop. Did we miss any updates or anything that you wanted to share, or are we good?
No, I think one big thing that I think is a huge announcement that I want to make sure that's out there that everybody understands. We've recently received a new ISO rating, and what that basically does is determines what the rates of our insurance is cost for like homeowners insurance and things of that nature. And we recently, a scale 1 to 5, a 5 is the worst, a 1 is the best, and we just got an ISO rating of 2. And when you take a look at which is excellent for any city in order to get that, and when you take a look at the cities out there that have received that throughout the country, it's very low compared to all the municipalities that are out there. And then when you take a look at it even further, our fire department recently, and I participated in this and actually advocated to get our fire department to be an accredited fire department, just like our police department. And our police department just went through their recertification here recently and was reaccredited and got that accreditation that they needed to continue with that. And our fire department got it, I believe, last year. So when you look at fire department, the fire departments and that's accredited with an ISO rating of 2, there's only 103 in the country. So that's pretty impressive.
Congratulations. Very nice.
So that was a lot of hard work. There's a lot of variables that go on to make sure you get that ISO 2. It's just not the fire department. Public Works, there's certain things in Public Works that need to meet the mandate, and other utilities and our fire department. And so hats off to everyone that advocated, worked through this. I can tell you, just with the accreditation alone, with Chief Lamb was there in 2018, about a year after I got elected. I went to him and I said, "Hey, look, I want to get our fire department accredited. What do we got to do? What type of funding is that going to take?" And he says, "Well, boy, I'm glad you said that, because that was one of his priorities." And they had been working on it for years, even before 2018. And we just got accredited in 2024. So it's been some time.
Wow.
In order to put that in place. And then the same thing with this ISO rating of 2, something we've been working on and had that as a goal over the last couple of years. And so to get both of these across the plate, and only 103 of those type of organizations throughout the country had that is something to be proud of.
Great. Well, congratulations on that. Thanks for your time for the last hour. We'll see you at the meeting on Wednesday, and we'll be back in 2 weeks for our next show, episode number 4. Thanks, Mayor.
Thank you. You guys have a great evening.
All right, Mayor John Gunter, everybody, the mayor of Cape Coral, for our 3rd episode of Mondays with the Mayor. And we do it twice a month to try and get everybody and keep everybody up to date on all the different issues. And if you're just tuning in, you should go back and listen in. We did an update on the Yacht Club, JC Park, the Strong Mayor, and what's a possibility for that coming up in the November election, and a bunch of other issues. So thank you to the mayor, and we will see you all Friday night at Hooked Island Grill for our next episode live in Cape Coral. Thanks, everyone, and have a great night. Bye-bye.